PGS3 is just around the corner, and that means it's time for all the armchair analysts to come out and give us their stupid opinions on Twitter about which team is going to be the best, usually in the form of one of these. Now, tier lists are a fantastic way of pushing your anti-APAC agenda or baiting people into picking some dogshit players for their fantasy team, but I think I might have found another little use for them. I'm sure there might be 3 of you out there that actually want to hear my opinion and see me make a tier list of the teams at PGS3, so that's what I'm going to do. But with a little twist. I'm not making a tier list today based on how teams are going to perform at PGS. I'm making a tier list of how good their logos look. Because winning is cool, but winning in style, so much better. So without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off with Group A, the Sonics. Quite a nice little logo, mono color, single tone, and it's not red. It feels a little bit iconic at this point. It's got the S down the middle, surrounded by all those swirly shapes that represent just how much NA is in the toilet these days. And it's got a nice sort of tealish color scheme to match. I do like the color scheme. To be honest, to me, I think the color is more Sonic's, and it's maybe not so much about the logo. I mean, you just see that color and Sonic's just immediately comes to mind, not really thinking too much about those swirly patterns that you might see on the face of a murderous puppet. But I think it is a good example of a strong logo that's relatively simple, but has a lot of brand identity to it. And, you know, I like the color as well. So we're going to put this into it's I tier. It's I. Next up, Na'Vi. Now, talk about iconic. That black and yellow color scheme that would make Wiz Khalifa proud. Been a staple of the industry for so long in esports, and honestly, they haven't made that many changes to this logo at all. They kind of got rid of the text at the bottom that says their full Latin pretentious ass name and just kept it nice and simple with Na'Vi, because that's all you need. Slight use of negative space almost, the way that some of the letters kind of meld into one another. I like it a lot. I really do. It's bloody lovely, that. Next up, FaZe Clan. Now, FaZe has gone through quite a few variations of their logos, some that had a little bit of white, some had a little bit of blue, but kind of kept it to a relatively simple, just black and red these days. I think the more I look at it, there's more that kind of annoys me about it, actually. I don't know, it's weird. There's something about it that's weird. I think the protrusions that come out of the right-hand side being sort of almost the same length, but not quite, but then on the opposite side, it makes that nice sort of triangular line, but then at the bottom it's like more thick on the right hand side, and the shaft down the middle, it just expands down at the tip at the bottom. It looks a little weird. It looks like whoever designed this could benefit from turning on the ruler tool in Photoshop a little bit. And yeah, don't get me wrong, it's a strong identity and a brand that everyone's going to recognize. Every 12-year-old who's had Fortnite installed for the past 6 years knows who FaZe is. Let me get a ruler. Oh my god. Angles at the top is not the same angle as the angle at the bottom. I need to draw a line on the screen to show you what I mean, but ew, shabby. Absolutely all over the place. I hope they can get this fixed, and this one just gets burned immediately. Now, E-Arena. An interesting logo. Very simple. Again, quite angular in its design, but a little bit sleek, a little bit nice. It's almost reminiscent of that old optical illusion of, is it a rabbit, is it a duck? But this one's quite clearly a rabbit, but not the most menacing of creatures, unless this is a Monty Python reference, which I doubt considering this is a Thai organization, but hey, if it is, that's very impressive. The angles, the curvature gives the impression of depth, which is difficult to do when you're only using a single color scheme, or even a silhouette when they have this in black or white. And speaking of the color scheme, I do love it. Little hint of pink just creeping its way through on a background of gray. I feel like I've seen a color scheme before, but no idea where that could be. My one major gripe with this logo: get rid of the fucking little e. I swear, if I see the word esports typed with a little e and a big S one more time, I'm going to lose my shit. This really is not helping E-Arena. Honestly, this is so close to a perfect logo, but I just can't give a top tier rating to anything that spells E-Arena like that. But I will respect the design. They'll go in bloody lovely. Next up, we've got Armory Gaming. It's a stark contrast to what we've just seen with E-Arena. It's a very simple, sleek design, monocolored, almost a silhouette. This is just all over the place. Looks almost like one of those old phone wallpapers that made it look like your screen was cracked. You'd try and prank your parents by showing it to them like, oh, Mom, I cracked my phone, and then you get the shit. I don't know. I haven't really looked at this logo too up close, and now that I have a bigger version of it on the screen, there's a couple of oddities about it. First of all, why the backwards Y? What are we gaining from having the Y backwards? No. No, that's not it. I thought maybe that those little pointy bits at the side and the bottom would kind of line up to make a second equilateral triangle kind of thing, and that's why the Y has to be in that position, but no, they don't line up either. It's definitely an odd choice to just simply be wrong. So I'm not 100% sure about the stripes in the background, the sort of light gray, dark gray pattern. Makes it look a little bit like the inside of a bike tire. But I do like the color scheme, the depth, and overall it's... yeah, it's fine. It's a pretty good logo. A couple of things to fix, but overall, yes, KDF now, Kwangdong Freaks. Now this one, interesting. Fire logos are pretty common in esports. Everyone loves to have that little bit of flame, but this one looks like a cartoon-friendly version of that, like something you would see on Paw Patrol. It looks a little goofy, and maybe it doesn't help that the K looks kind of like the DuckDuckGo logo. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not particularly sold. I don't think it looks particularly like a fire. Maybe that's not even what they were going for. I can't really tell. But with at least a white and orange color scheme, that's pretty distinct. So I suppose they'll get some points for that. But overall, there's not that much to it other than wiggly letters that spells out their own initials. I think KDF's going to have to go in mid. All right, Legacy. Okay. Now it's another, similar to E-Arena, mono-color, but still gives that illusion of depth. Clever usage of those little gaps in between the lines to imply that there's layering there. This almost feels like it pops out of the screen, kind of like a lotus flower does, but then for some reason there's like a fish lying across the middle of it. The shape of it almost feels like a crest, like you would get on a lot of football teams, like a shield kind of shape, but it's very angular with the slight curves. I do like it. It's a very sleek design. And those sort of points at the top, those peaks, feel a little bit reminiscent of almost a crown on top of the head, which really ties into the name of Legacy. I don't know, I really just can't get my head away from thinking that it's like one of those Christian fish magnets that people have on the back of their car in some states in America, just like slapped onto the middle of it. But aside from that, it's really good. I think using a kind of unique color as well, yellow is underutilized. I'll put this one in bloody love like that. And now our final Group A team, DD team, and honestly, why do some teams, particularly in China, I don't know why, but why do they feel the need to just add this unnecessary texturing onto their logos? It just doesn't translate well. The detail all gets lost. Tianba's logo looks like someone's just scrunched up some aluminium foil and then spray painted it gold. This looks like some shit that you would get on the table if you went to a Salt Bay's restaurant and ordered a steak. Like, it's just not good. It's like the gold flake, the gradient as well. There's just so much detail. There's a big reason that a lot of teams and even brands outside esports are simplifying their logos, are keeping things down to just block colors these days. To be fair, the bird thing, what is it? Like a phoenix with antlers or a dragon? I really can't tell. Whatever that thing is, it looks fine. It's just, God, the texture, it's physically painful to look at texture like that. I think the letters DD is a different shade of that kind of bluish color that they have to the word team. Not it, boys. It's not it. That's to say, we're going to have to burn this one and start again. Future Saga stepping in here because we've had a little bit of an update. Thankfully, I'm extremely slow when it comes to editing these kind of videos. And in the couple of days since recording that first section, there's been a couple of changes to some of the teams at PGS3. A couple of organizations stepping in to sign some of the unsigned teams who are going to be competing. And that, of course, means a couple more logos to look at. And in Group A, we have Weibo Gaming. This one's a little interesting. It's almost the equivalent of a team showing up at this event being signed by Twitch and just having the Twitch logo. So this logo was, of course, designed originally to be representing a place where people would go to watch a broadcast. And you can kind of see that in the design. It has like the waves as if it's sort of emitting some kind of signal. And of course, the representation of the eye in the middle. Definitely stylized, almost like a bit of a blobby shape to it. It's a bit strange. And an unfortunate color scheme. This is the Watford colors. Yep. Not great. But I will give them this. It's a definite upgrade on what they had before under DD team. But unfortunately, this Weibo logo is not that much of a visual upgrade. And so we're going to put this one in mid.